Hey everybody, this is Tom with Rocket Restorations, and today we're going to go over some more cool paperwork. I know I've had a lot of guys saying that they love it when I go over this stuff, and just thought I'd show you a really interesting case today. So basically what we're going to show you is three 1969 Dodge Coronets that all have sequential VIN numbers. I just think this is really interesting, and it really shows you how these cars were ordered back in the day, what the vehicle order numbers mean, what the SPDs mean. There's just a lot here to digest going these. And it's kind of a bonus. The first one, I think, is the most stripped Coronet I've ever seen in my life. So these all came from Pauley Motors. It was a dealership in Shelton, Washington. Don Pauley was the owner. His family ran the dealership, and he was a really good friend of mine. Unfortunately, he passed away last year. He had a heck of an estate, so I got so much cool old Chrysler paperwork from there. They closed during, I think it was kind of close to bankruptcy in the 80s, somewhere around there. But they were, a dealership from way back when. And he actually let me go through and scan all of his paperwork a few years ago. But he let me have all I got all the originals when he passed away. He willed the stuff to me, which is really cool of him. We've actually, it's funny, Evan, who works here, guy with the big beard, he actually has a 65 Coronet that was sold new at Pauley Motors. Actually the original owner was a mechanic who used to work for me, Roy. His dad actually bought it new, but we actually reunited the paperwork with it. And there's been a couple other cars too. There was a Duster here locally we reunited. So, if write these VINs down, if you know where the cars are, I would love to reunite the paperwork. So just start on this one. So this is a canceled check from Chrysler. And basically, this is when Pauley Motors paid Chrysler for the cars. So there's three cars on here. There's a lot of good information on here. So that's the dealer number right there. I'm actually not sure what 08 means there. There's three cars listed on here that they paid for at once. It was paid for on December 5th for $7,632. So this was their cost on the car, basically. So the first car here is a 69 Dart, which we're not going to go over this, but 1969 Dodge Dart four-door sedan. That's the VIN number, LL41. That's low trimline Dart, 41 sedan. B is slant 6, 9 is the year, 1969. B is the plant Hamtramck, and 232473 is the sequential number. But that's not what we're going for here. We're actually we're working on these Coronets. So there's two Coronets here with consecutive VINs. So again, 1969 Dodge Coronet, 4S means four-door sedan. Here's the VIN number. They're very similar cars. So they're 1969 Dodge Coronet 440s. So there was multiple trim lines of Coronets in 1969. There was the Deluxe, that was the base model. There was a 440 that was one step up. There was a 500 that was the quote-unquote luxury model. And then there was the Dodge Coronet RT. There's also the Super B, which was the sporty one. The RT was the high-end one. The Super B was the sporty one. And they all had different VINs on them. But these were Dodge Coronet 440s, four-door sedans. And the first one, I think, is the cheapest Coronet you can get. We'll get to that in a second. So they're both WH41. So W is Coronet, H is high trim level, which is 440. 41 is four-door sedan. F is 318, two-barrel. 9 is the year, 1969. A is the plant, which is Lynch Road, which I think is really interesting that this was built at Lynch Road and not the LA plant, because Pauley Motors was in Shelton, Washington. Lynch Road was in Detroit. So these things had to travel all the way across the country. I know like every cop car was built in Lynch Road. They didn't build any cop cars at Lynch Road. I'm kind of surprised that it's not an LA built car. But a lot of guys, have the theory that, it had to be built in LA if it went to the West Coast. They built them everywhere. They were just getting built, and, they got shipped to wherever. Obviously, they would try to get the closest plant because the destination charge would be a little bit less, but that's just kind of the way it worked. And then the sequence number on these is 188718 and 188719. And then the information right here. So the C09 on both is the scheduled production date. A is the plant, which is Lynch Road. W is the first letter of the VIN, Coronet. And then the 204370 and the 204371 is the vehicle order numbers. And that's actually the number on the order form, which I'll show you later. So the actual form, when the dealer ordered it from Chrysler, that was the number in the upper right-hand corner. There's actually a third Coronet here that's 188720 that we're going to do last. But again, sequential VIN and the vehicle order number is very similar, but there's some kind of cool stuff going on with that one. So, all right, let me show you the paperwork on the first car first. We'll show you the cheapo one first. All right, so we'll start out with the cheap one here. This one is total bare bones. I don't think it has any extra cost options. I think the engine was extra cost. And keep in mind, this is the invoice. It's not the Maroni label or window sticker. That always has a little different information on it. I always like to go back to the data books when I'm reading this stuff, and I corrected myself. So I thought you could get a slant 6 on this for cheaper, but that is not correct. So it's standard Coronet 500, 440, and Deluxe V8 models with a 318. So I think that was standard on a Coronet 440 V8. And by standard on that, if it has an 8 right there, that means it was a V8 car, and that's the price. So it wasn't any extra cost for, well, I guess it was extra cost for 318, but that was the standard price for a V8 Coronet 440. But you could definitely get a slant 6 in Coronet 440, but it's extremely rare. Most of those were in Deluxes. So they made 47,280 Coronet 440s, four-door sedans, and slant 6 production was 3.8% of production, 1,813. The rest were, 318s, 383s, and V8s, so pretty rare. And I wanted to show you the models. It's got the nice Coronet 500 on there. Lists all the models. So there was RT, Coronet 500, Coronet Super B, Coronet 440, and Coronet Deluxe. Those were all the models for Coronet in 1969. Super cheap car, 293 gears was standard. That's the standard black sidewall tires, 775/14. I don't know if this was an order car or just something for the dealership. It didn't stick around very long. It got sold on 12/8. As you can see, I've redacted the names on these. So the first two cars I'm going to show you, it's just a copy of the paperwork because I wanted to redact it. On the last one, it was a little bit harder to do that. So I'll just, black out the names. I don't want the names getting out there. That was one thing that the family told me is like, they're fine with me sharing this paperwork, but they don't want names out there. So again, a lot of the similar information here. So it was invoice date was on 12/5. As you can see, and on the check, it was written on, that was the day that the check was written to Chrysler for the car. Here's the numbers here again. And this is actually the unique number within Chrysler there. So the C09AW204370, that's the unique number for the car in the internal Chrysler system. They didn't do it by VIN. That's how they kept track of them in the system. Originally it was B5 blue with an H1B bench seat interior. Okay, again, going back to the data book, Coronet 440, four-door sedan, standard trim. And there was, see pages 32 and 33 for extra cost ones. The standard was H1B with blue carpet. That's actually cloth, I believe. Cloth and vinyl with blue carpet. And here were the possibilities for the color combo. So B5, you could either get blue or black. There wasn't any other ones available. It was not recommended. And then here's two-tone combinations. So you could get different colors on it as well. If it was a VO2 two-tone car. And then if you go back here on the 32 and 33, so optional interior, you get a little fancier bench seat. It was extra cost. All right, so upper left-hand corner, Lynch Road Assembly. The region is 72. That was the Northwest Oregon and most of Idaho, I believe. 54533 is the dealer number. That's the convoy it came out on. I can't remember. My buddy Dan has those decoded. I'm not sure what that actually means, but the A53 is actually the transportation code, the route, and that's directly related to the destination charge. So the destination charge was flat, so no matter if it went from Michigan to the West Coast or Michigan to Ohio, it was always the same. They always flattened that out by plant to where it was going. Ship 2 is Pauley Motors. It was Front and Railroad Street in Shelton, Washington. Fortunately, the building's no longer there. Paid for by Seattle First Bank, so they did Pauley Motors floor plan. And what floor plan means is the loans that the dealership took out to buy the cars. As most dealerships couldn't pay cash for cars, so they would just borrow it from the bank and then obviously pay it back when it's sold. WH41 Coronet 440, 8-cylinder, four-door sedan. EH&O is the holdback from Chrysler, $152. Factory wholesale price was $2,101.89. That was a really cheap Coronet. 3-speed manual transmission, 3 on the tree. Super, super rare on these. I don't know what the production figures is on that, but it's the vast, vast majority of these were automatic. Vast majority of them. The 3-speed manual was extremely rare on these. So it's a column mounted, 3 on the tree. They're only available with 225/6 and the 318. It's interesting. They list the gears here, 293. That's actually, it should be 293, not 295. It should be 323, not 302. A couple of mistakes in the book here. But the 3-speed stick on the Coronet 440 was extremely, extremely rare. So they only made 253 of them. out of the 47,280. So it's only 0.5 of production used a 3-speed stick. 293 rear axle, which was, I believe, the standard ratio. 318 engine. It was a sold car, which means it was ordered by Pauley. And that doesn't mean it was customer ordered. The dealership could have just ordered it for stock, or they could have ordered it for a customer. Unfortunately, we don't have the order form on this one. We do for the third one, but we don't on this one. Black sidewall tires, which is the base tire. The Portland Regional Advertising Agency. That was $15. That was a mandatory charge they always put on these. Destination charge, and then it was signed by the customer here. It was in transit, and then that's the original invoice down there. $2,421. Okay, let's go to the next car. This one's got a few more options on it. Did I say next car? I mean, I'm still doing this car. So here's the invoice. Sorry, this is really hard to read. I did copies of these and it didn't scan that well. So it was a 69 Coronet. He traded in a 63 Chevy for it, paid $400 cash, and then he ended up owing $1,377.61. And the credit, it was a Simpson credit union. Simpson was a big timber company. Shelton was a big timber area. They cut a ton of timber down there, especially back in the 60s. They've really cut down on that lately. There's not nearly as much lumber out there as there was. But so this guy was a logger who ordered it through his credit union. All right, next car. Okay, so next car here. It is basically another 318 Coronet. VIN number is one higher than the other, and the vehicle order number is one higher than another because they were basically ordered on the same day from the same place, from the same dealership. Again, Lynch Road Assembly Plant, same. I mean, pretty much everything's the same on this one up top. I don't need to rehash all this. The color on this one is F5, which was green with a black vinyl top and green interior because they're all green cars back then. That's just how they ordered them. Pauley Motors, and then this one's got a lot more options on it. So this had the white hat special with vinyl roof. I was really hoping this book would have information on the white hat special, but unfortunately that was a mid-year option thing. But I did notice that it has the Charger 500 in it, which is really interesting because they would, when these came out always at the start of the year, and they were, they had to add stuff through the year. So they had spring special packages, all that. And generally what they would do is they would send the pages to the dealerships and they added these as books, but it's definitely not, they didn't do it all the time. So this one, unfortunately, does not have that page in it. But what's interesting is it does have a Charger 500 because that came out after the first of the year, has the optional 426 Hemi. Okay, so this had the A39 white hat special with vinyl roof. That was a little bit more, so you get the package with or without the vinyl roof. That included light package, left outside chrome remote mirror, 3-speed wipers, pedal dress up, hood tie-down pins in the performance models like a Subaru B or Coronet. Obviously, this didn't have that. Upper door frame molding, belt moldings, bumper guards front and rear. Came with the carb fresh air package in the performance models. White sidewall tires, which again, this has listed on there, 775 white walls. And the fancy hubcaps, basically, which is pretty cool. Fortunately, these invoices don't have as much information as the window stickers, so they don't list as much stuff in them. Seat air foam, they give you a little bit more cushion in the seat. The torque flight transmission, again, not on the other one, on this one, $156. 276 rear axle ratio, that was not the standard ratio. You had to order that, but it was no cost. The 318 engine, of course, that's no cost because it's already included in the base price on a V8 there. 3-speed wipers, again, that was included in the white hat special. Although they charged $385, I think that would be part of the package. I'm not sure why they did that. R11 Music Master radio, $44. Power steering, $72. Black vinyl roof, that was included in the white hat special. 775 14 white walls, and then the advertising charge and the destination charge. Pretty neat. So original invoice was $2,446. And then here's the invoice right here. He paid $3,600 for the car. So Pauley made, don't do math on the phone, $750. Someone's going to correct me. I think that's right. They put $350 down, and it looks like they financed the rest on it. So, and there's the delivery acknowledgement. That's another piece of paper you don't see very often. So that's the owner signing it, saying they got it. Has the VIN number on it. The delivery dates. That one sat around for a bit longer. The cheap one was around for like 2 weeks. This was around for a couple months. Came in December, sold in March. Pauley Motors, dealer number, and Shelton, Washington. So, okay, well, 2 consecutive VIN Coronets, which is interesting. So you can see right here, VINs are one off, and then the vehicle order number is one off, 370, 371. That's pretty cool. All right, so now I'm going to show you, this one's a little bit more interesting because I have some more paperwork for it, but the VIN for that is 188720. So 3 consecutive 1969 Dodge Coronets. So every dealer kept their paperwork differently. What Pauley did is it's not by VIN, not by car, not by year. It's by owner. So and what they always did is they saved, these are the destroy tags. The dealers would always save these when you got keys. So if you ever lost your keys, you can get new ones. But the customer actually bought a 1965 Dart as well as this 1969 Coronet. So that's a 69 Coronet destroy tag. That's from a 65 Dart. Kind of neat. And to correct myself again, it's actually kind of interesting. He actually bought 3 cars from Pauley. So he bought a used 56 Dodge pickup in 1970. He bought a 1965. I actually think it's a Coronet. They say Dart on here, but it says 440. Dual headrests, optional. And they bought the 69 Coronet from them as well. All right, so here's the deliver acknowledgement for this one. So it was WH23 F9A, again 318 car, but this one is a 2-door hardtop. Still a 318 car, and it's 1 VIN higher than the other ones. It says delivery date is 12/21/68, Pauley Motors, and then the dealer code over here. All right, here's the actual invoice for the car, which kind of lists everything that was on here. They've got, so again, the VIN is 720, one above the other ones. The Vaughn is 4 above, 375. The other ones are 370 and 371. Pauley Motors, again, most of the stuff's the same. V8 Coronet, but 2-door hardtop this time. Light group, radio group, head restraints left and right, $19. Torque flight transmission, 156, 276 axle ratio, 318 engine, tinted glass windshield only. Rear seat speaker, all of $10. Vinyl rough green, that was quite expensive, $64.20. Sold car, Portland Regional Office. Destination charge, $153 on that. And the invoice there was $2,908. And I believe a mistake was made when this was ordered. And I don't know what the mistake was. I'm pretty sure I asked Don about this back in the day, but honestly, I just can't remember. Something was ordered wrong on here. So let's see if we can figure out the differences to see what was different. So, but these order codes are really cool. So when I talk about vehicle order numbers, that number up there is the vehicle order number. So the vehicle order number on the invoice, on the fender tag, that's the number up there. And then they would get a pack of these at the start of the year. So when they went to there's always a dealer reveal at the start of each year, which all the dealers would go to the regional office and all the new models would get, shown to the dealers. Then they would get a packet of invoices. So my guess is they probably got like 25 of these, somewhere around there. And this one is 204368. And then the other one over here that the car actually came in on was 204375. If you remember the other ones, they were 370 and 371. So, and it didn't matter if they lost these. It wasn't a big deal. They would just fix it later. So, okay, this car. So it was WH21, which is interesting. That means 2-door hardtop or 2-door sedan, which is not available on a 440, which kind of makes me think maybe that was rejected because of that. That's one possibility. F3 paint, which is light pea green, not the best color in the world. Green vinyl top. H2G is bench seat interior in green. They ordered a 318 two-barrel. There's the Hemi right there. You could have just checked the Hemi. That would have been cool. Torque flight. No optional rear gear ratios. Standard Blackwell tires. They ordered the A04 basic package, which was the radio, power steering, 3-speed wipers, left remote mirror, bunch of the common options together. That got you it a little bit cheaper. Ordered a light group. Trailer towing was actually one of the most bang for the buck options you could get back in the day. G15 tinted windshield. Head restraints, left and right. I believe those weren't standard until they were standard January 1st, 1969. So this was built before then. It was optional. You had to pay for those. All right, let's go up on this side here. This was ordered on October 28th. Has the regional number, district, and the dealer number. Rally cluster was optional on the RT only. Couldn't get it on here. They didn't order the remote mirror because that was already in the basic package. Ordered a rear seat speaker for it. So that's basically the order form. They didn't order a whole bunch of stuff on here because, most of the stuff was included in some of these other packages here. So my guess is that this probably got rejected because of that, but I'm not sure. Let's see if we can find any differences between the two order forms. So this one, again, very similar, is WH23, which is 2-door hardtop. 1969 Coronet 440, same F3 paint. That's metallic P. I'm joking. It was the light green. V1F is green vinyl rough. H2G is bench seat. Again, this is pretty much the same. Blackwell tires, torque flight transmission. They ordered A04 basic package, A01 light package. They ordered tinted windshield only. They ordered the head restraints. And that's pretty much it, the rear speaker. So I'm guessing it probably got rejected from that, but I'm not entirely sure. These color sample books are pretty cool too. So Charger two-door hardtop, final top is available on pretty much any Coronet. But these are actual samples of the colors. So the B1F green is right there. You know what I mentioned earlier about extra pages being added? So this one has an extra page right here. So add it up. Hot performing cars plus hot performance color equals hot selling, hot performing, hot looking Dodges. They say hot enough. Bright red's available now. Bright green, Hemi orange, Bahama yellow. Those were optional colors later. It actually says Super B 6-pack only. Interesting. Bright red was available on pretty much anything. Bright green was pretty much available on everything. Pretty cool. New colors came out. And then there's silver, A4. Where's F3? Should be right above F5. If I can get it open here. So yeah, so light green metallic was F3. That was the color on this two-door hardtop. Available on all models. Yeah, a lot of cool colors in here. These are, again, as I said, actual samples of actual paint. You can, and they have truck colors in here too. I'm not sure if this car was built or not. I don't have any information on the VIN. So it might have been built. Maybe it went to the sales bank after that, went to another dealer. Who knows? It didn't go to Pauley. And on this one, definitely built, went to the dealership, and got delivered to the customer. All right. Well, hope everybody enjoyed this video. We love doing these decode videos. We love nerding out on stuff. We know you do too. If there's anything else specifically you want to see, any other years, makes, models, we have a ton of this paperwork, and we love sharing it with everybody out there. So appreciate everybody from watching. This is Tom with Rocket Restorations, and we'll talk to you soon.